I wonder if I could figure out how it was that Betamax moved to VHS. Why did it go in this way? What happened to Betamax? What do I do with all my Betamax videos and my laser discs? Well, ponder whether or not Aristotle and his four causes can make sense of my Spy Who Loved Me VHS tape here.
Jay Dyer from Jay's Analysis. Listen, I want to talk about the possibility of a simple way to understand Aristotle's teaching of the four causes. And this is what we're going to do this week at Jay's Analysis. If you're a subscriber or if you follow my work, we're going to look at Aristotle and we're going to get pretty in-depth. But one of the main features of Aristotle's philosophy here in this brief video, which is a kind of introductory salvo to the full 2 hours, is the four causes, how to understand Aristotle's metaphysics and the four causes. So if we were to take my VHS video of The Spy Who Loved Me from the earliest days of VHS post Betamax, and we were to ask the question, how did this thing come to be, or how would Aristotle describe this thing coming to be? Was Aristotle a fan of Roger Moore? If he were alive, would he be? Probably not, but that's okay. So the first thing that we want to think about is that what Aristotle calls a material cause. So step one is going to be the material cause. And for Aristotle, the causes don't have the same meaning that they do in the way that we think about causes post-scientific enlightenment, post-scientific revolution, right? So for him, they just mean stages of being and how they unify an object over time. So the central question of Aristotle's philosophy, as well as much of philosophy in the history of the West, is going to be the question of identity over time, right? So when we talk about the material cause, what we mean here is the matter that makes up the object. So the material cause of this Spy Who Loved Me VHS is obviously plastic, right? The whole thing is made of plastic, except for perhaps the outer casing, which is old school CBS Fox cardboard. So from there, Aristotle would say that there's the elements that make up this thing that give it its identity over time. One of those elements is going to be the fact that it's made from some form of matter, some materia, some form of matter. Now the next cause, the next stage of being for this specific object that we're going to try to understand how it has identity, we're going to call this the formal cause. What does this mean, the formal cause of an object? Well, every object that exists that has some kind of identity has a form. And so this means its lineaments, its dimensions, its shape, right? This is what we mean by form. And so the formal cause is the shape of the object, the squareness, the VHS-ness. No, I'm joking. The VHS aspects of my Spy Who Loved Me will actually be part of the totality definition of what this object is for Aristotle. So the formal, however, is that it's impressed, right? So some Asian dude at the plant was impressing the plastic, probably back in this day, with some sort of form so that it had its gigantic rectangular black features so that it could fit into your VHS, right? That's the formal cause of the object, and every object is going to have these aspects in some degree, except for natural objects. Natural objects will not necessarily have an artificial human agent as their cause, right? So humans are not causing trees and so forth, unless you want to talk about GMOs. That might be different now. But so the next would be the efficient cause, right? So this is the agent, right? And this is, we mentioned, the agent behind impressing this object with form. We mentioned before the Asian dude at the plant who was pulling the levers and stamping the VHS with its shape and with its form and with its various parts that make it up, right? So that it is able to get caught up in the VHS player and spin the tape everywhere, and you have to use a pencil or something to get it all straightened out. So that is the efficient agent cause of this object. And the final cause in the Greek is the telos for Aristotle. What is telos? Telos just means the purpose. What is the VHS made for? Well, it's made for you to watch Roger Moore episodes of Sean Connery, right, on your VHS player. So the whole purpose of the object is wrapped up in its identity over time. It helps to explain or give meaning to that object. So if you like this video, this is the basic 4 causes and explanations of how objects in the world have identity over time according to Aristotle. Then you're going to want to watch the full 2-hour discussion that we do at Jay's Analysis this week. Thank you for listening. Also, you can get my book, Esoteric Hollywood, Sex, Cults, and Symbols in Film, signed copies from me at my website, jaysanalysis.com.